Hi guys, and welcome to the class. Just starting into the 1A material today. So just getting you acquainted with how the piano works and how reading works. Looking at the piano method book first, and it's just the first couple pages. We'll start with page 4. So this one. So hopefully you got your book. If you don't have it, it's not a big deal. I'm going to walk you through this stuff. We'll talk about it. But make sure you get your book as soon as you can because pieces are coming up soon. All right, so the first thing that they mention is this musical alphabet, and just pointing out it's basically the English alphabet, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's it. Once you're done with G, the next thing's going to be an A, and then a B, and a C. So it just kind of rotates through that 7-letter alphabet, and that's it. There's no H's, no I's, no S's, no T's. On the piano, this is what it looks like. So like they say, the musical alphabet repeats several times, right? Notice black key groups in 2s and 3s help locate those white key notes. So if you look at a keyboard, right, here's a set of 3 black keys, set of 2 black keys, and 3 and 2. That's what they're pointing out here. That shows you where everything is. So if you look at any set of 2 black keys, just to the left, that's going to be a C. Right, so if you pop over here, 2 black keys to the left, there's a C. Same thing if we go anywhere, 2 black keys, there's a C. So if you look for your C's first, that'll make it a lot easier. Once you've got that, you notice that it's all alphabetical. So just let's take a look at the piano first. So I've got a piano right under me here. So here's a set of 3, a set of 2, set of 3. So any set of 2 on the left, that should be a C. Right, and again, like here, set of 2 to the left is a C. And you notice between those sets of 3, sets of 2, there's 2 white keys, right? So that's what kind of sets them apart from each other, right? So way down here, set of 2, there's a C. So go ahead on your piano. You can pause this video anytime, but take a look, find some C's, and they should sound like C's. You'll get used to the sound of C's. They all sound similar because they're overtones of each other. Okay, so go ahead and find your C's. Right, and then once you know where your C's are, just like that diagram said, everything else is alphabetical. So if that's a C, the next thing to the right is a D. So just looking at white keys, next thing is an E. Right, so it's alphabetical C, D, E. If you keep going, there's an F, then a G, and then we're at the end of the alphabet. So like we were saying, after G is an A, right? So you're starting over in your alphabet A, B, and back to C. Right, so it's all just one letter at a time. So again, here's our 2 black keys. Here's a C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then here's C again. And here's our 2 black keys. There's a C for sure. So go ahead and try that on your piano. Make sure you can kind of figure out where those letters are. The next challenge, once you know your C's, let's find something else. Say if we needed to find a G. Right, if you can go, you can figure it out exactly what it looks like, or you can just go back to your C, right? D, E, F, G. So G looks like this. You've got 3 black keys between the first and second one. That's a G. So no matter where you are on the piano, if we scoot up here, 3 black keys right in there, that's a G. Right, and if you get lost at any time, here's 3 black keys, that's a G. If you get lost, go back to your C's. 2 black keys, here's a C. Right, and you can count down as well. C, that's a B, that's an A, that's a G. Right, so you kind of, as you're bored, if you're sitting around, go through your alphabet backwards because it will help. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Right, so go ahead and try those. Get used to the piano first. And again, you can pause anytime. So as we head onwards in the book, this is that kind of the third section down from there. That's what you're doing is finding G's and C's and G's and C's, and you can see where they are on this diagram. And we kind of looked at it on the piano just now. So any letter that you want to find, say you want to find E's, you could figure out that an E looks like that, and find it anywhere on the piano. Okay. So let's keep going and starting to look at the staff line notes and space notes. So you notice that music. If you look at written music, and this is for classical music, for pop music, jazz, pretty much any Western music, the music when it's written down will look like this. You've got 5 lines. These are called staff lines. This is a musical staff, right, when you have 5 lines together. And you notice some of the notes are inside these spaces between lines, right? And sometimes the notes, the circles, are around the lines, right, like this. And I've got some staff paper here, just you might want to print out some. It's easy to find on the internet, but it's just getting used to drawing how these work. So these space notes, they should touch each line, but fit in between so you're not crossing any of the lines. So these are space notes, just like this, right? And when you're looking at the spaces or the lines, you count them from the bottom up. This is the first space, second space, third space, fourth space. If you're looking at line notes, this one would go, first line is around that first line, second line, right? And you notice the line notes, so you're circling the line, but not touching any of the other lines, because then you start looking like, so if you made a huge one, like, say, like this, then you don't know if it's that line note or if that's space note. So just be careful. So this is first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, right? Not too hard. And then as we keep going, the next section after we talked about the lines and spaces, looking at right hand notes on the treble clef staff. All right, so looking first at that symbol, well, that's called a treble clef. And your theory book, when you get to that part, will have you drawing these. So we'll stick one right here. Right, and you kind of get used to drawing them. It'll take a little while, but just a few things about that. So again, this is called a treble clef, Treble, right? Treble clef, Clef. A couple new things about that treble clef. So this actually comes from the letter G, and you can see kind of a big G like this inside there. Right? You can see that, and you can also see a little G kind of at the bottom with the tail under there. So all this is pointing out the letter G. It's just a big stylized G. And all this circling around, it really centers around the second line from the bottom. So if you have a treble clef, we'll stick one again here, right? If you have a treble clef and you have a note around the second line, that is going to be a G. And once you have that G, everything else is alphabetical, just like we were looking on the piano itself. As you're moving, let's move upwards first. So if we go up to the next space, and these notes, if you're going alphabetically, we'll go space to line to space to line. It'll always just rise one little spot at a time. So that's a G. This is an A, right? We ran out of letters. So this is an A. This is a B. Next space is a C, right? So it's all alphabetical as long as you go line, space, line, space. If we skip anything, like if we skip this line and move on to this space over here, let's say if we look at that, that means we're going to skip the letter that would have been there. That means that's an E, right? Right, and if you backed up and stuck this note here, right, the one that we skipped, that should have been a D, and it is a D. Right, so just make sure that if you're counting upwards, if you're looking upwards, alphabetical forward direction, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. If you're skipping anything, skip that letter. If you go downwards, then you have to go backwards in your alphabet, right? That's an E, that's a D. If we come down again, it's a C and a B. Okay, so hopefully that sort of makes sense. We're going to pull that G over here. Right, here's that treble clef G. If we go downwards, just like we were saying, backwards in your alphabet, this would be an F. Right, here's where I'll stick that G back here. That's an F. That's an E, right? If we keep going, right, we're running out of lines, so that's okay. We can hang one under. That's a D. But now we're really out of lines. But there are more notes. If you kind of realize the piano is huge, so to cover all these notes, sometimes you have what are called ledger lines. It's just an extra little line that looks like this, right? And this would be a C, right? That should be the next thing down from there. That's a C. And specifically, this one's called a middle C. This one's middle C. So when we looked at notes on the piano, we looked for C's. So if we look for middle C specifically, that should be the most in the middle of your piano. So let's go back to the piano and take a look. So for most, depending on your instrument, but if you look in the center of the piano, usually you have a name somewhere. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's on the music desk, right, somewhere. But if you're looking at the center of the piano, look for the black keys that are the most in the center. It's a little left of center, but here's our two black keys, right? To the left of that, this is middle C. No matter what piano you're on, if you're in the center, you find your center two black keys. To the left, that's your middle C, right? So any other C, like this one over here, that's higher, that's not middle C, and it'll sound different. It'll sound higher, and then here's a even higher C, right? So middle C should sound like this. So you can check that out on your piano too. Make sure you kind of know where that is, and it should sound like this. All right, so hopefully all that's making sense. The next thingy on the page, still looking at treble clef, they want you to have a few memory devices for remembering some of the letters in treble clef. So this treble clef, we're going to pull from what we did over here. What they did was first take, we'll take all the space notes first. I think it's a little simpler. The bottom space is an F, second space is an A, third space is a C, that's an E. So if we compile that, let's see, let me get a treble clef here. This is harder than it looks from a distance. All right, so we've got an F, this is an A, right? So just pulling from what we did when we stuck all the notes there. This is F, A, C, E, and that spells face. It's kind of squashed in there, but if you can kind of spell it out for yourself, F, A, C, E, face from the bottom up, right? And that kind of helps. So if you're looking at a treble clef, let's stick this down here. If someone says, well, play this note, well, then you can go, oh, F, A, C, that's a C. It's not middle C, right? It's just the next C up. So you know that on your piano, if this is middle C, it's actually this C right here. So it's really specific. If you've got the treble clef and you've got that, the note around in the third space, that is the C above middle C. No matter what else is happening anywhere, right? It's very specific as to where you are. If you pull the line notes, let's stick those here. Right, 3, 4, 5. So those, if we think about where we were here, that's an E. First one's an E. That's a G. Third line, is a B. Fourth is a D. And then we didn't have, the last one's an F, but if we kept going from here up, we would have found an F. So this is a little harder to squash in here, but they wrote in there, this is every good boy does fine. So it's just a simple saying, but it's you might have heard it before, but this is to help you with the line notes in treble clef. Every good boy does fine. So if you can remember that, remember face, and remember every good boy does fine. So if someone says, oh, treble clef, why don't you play this note? You can think every good boy, that's a B. You could also figure out if you know this is face, this is A and C, it's between the A and C, that's a B, right? So there's a lot of ways you can kind of jump around, but those are the big ones to kind of remember. When we start playing our music, just looking again over here at their diagram. So here's that every good boy does fine. Here's the face. Also learn these two notes, right? We figured out that middle C because when we start playing, we're going to need that. So the big notes for treble clef. Let's stick them over here. When we start off, we're going to have that middle C. We're going to have the D and the E and the F. We know that's an F because F-A-C-E, right? And every good, this is a G. So if you can remember these ones, C, D, E, F, G, you'll be set for a while. We're going to stay, this is called C position. Our lowest note is a C. So you kind of get used to what those look like. All right, so that's the end of this part. Click on to the next one for page 5. Okay, thanks.